Hello everyone. Today I along with my group members Hasan and Ali are going to explain our project Urdu.h, a custom C library. We will be going over why we built this, the core concepts it uses, a list of implementations, an explanation of the actual code along with a demo and the tools we used. So the first question is, why did we build Urdu.h? Learning C as your first programming language can be a bit difficult, so we thought of something useful and unique for Urdu speakers. Urdu.h is a library that uses functions and macros to modify and simplify the present functions of C and translate them to their Roman Urdu alternatives. To demonstrate how it works, we will need to explain and understand a few things. The first is library. A library is essentially reusable code. You can reference them in your program to speed up the development time. Functions are defined inside a library. They are the pieces of self-contained code that perform specific tasks. Functions can take input values, which are called parameters or arguments, and may return a result. Functions are reusable, meaning we don't have to write the same code over and over, but can instead reference or call them. Using functions makes a program more readable and we can manage it more easily. We used functions to modify the predefined input-output functions in C. The efficiency in some cases increased. For example, in C, you would usually write around 3 lines of code to take some input, but using our library, it reduces to just 1, thus increasing the efficiency. This is the list of currently implemented functions in our library. A macro is a fragment of code that has been given a name. They are defined using the define preprocessor directive. Macros are different from functions. They simply replace some text with a desired value or an expression before the code actually compiles. For example, in the above program, pi is defined as 3.14159. So whenever pi is passed on as an argument, it will be replaced with its defined value. Besides using functions, we also used macros to change the names of some keywords. We used macros in places where using functions would be inefficient. This is the list of the macros we have currently implemented inside our library. And here are some output examples. To show you how it really works under the hood, Hasan will be explaining the actual code.
Alright, this is Hasan Shahir and I'm going to be explaining the header file we used called urdu.h. So urdu.h is special because it introduces Urdu-inspired keywords and functions, making programmable more readable and beginner-friendly for native Urdu speakers and Pakistanis. So let's go over this code. Now, the first lines do two things. The first two lines ensure that the file is included only once. They are the header guards of the code. And then the include statements, what they do is just bring in standard C libraries such as standard input output brings in the printf and scanf functions, standard library brings in the random and malloc functions, and so on. So yeah, this was the first few lines of the code. Alright, so let's go over the major sections of this code. The first major section is the input and output functions. What we've done here is that we've replaced printf and scanf with parle and likhde, bringing in Roman Urdu keywords, replacing the built-in keywords. So let's briefly go over this section. Parle int over here reads an integer from the user. Parle reads a string. And once we've gone to the likhde section, so this prints the text, and likhde line text prints text with a new line. And yeah, these are all the variations uh, made for the printf and scanf replacements. And yeah, so let's go over parley int once again. And when we see parley int, we can see that this function wraps scanf and clears the input buffer, preventing input errors. So it's easier and safer to use. Now, with the input and output functions done, let's go over the string functions. In the string functions, we have obviously string manipulation functions, but just renamed. For example, lambai gives us the length of the string. Knuckle means just copy the string. Joro is concatenate. Ulta karde is just a function that replaces the string in place. And makabla is compare the string. And we have many other string functions, and you can check out them over here. There's a substring copy as well. Hissa nikal, loves Jundo, finding the substring, using the infamous haystack and needle examples. And yeah, there are also character functions. For to upper means bada kar de, and to lower means chota kar de. Alright, now let's go over the time functions. The time function in Urdu.h make it easy to get the current date and time. So the abhi ka time gives us the full date and time. Aaj ki tarikh gives us today's date. Abhi ka waqt gives us current time, and so on. So let's go over the macros, the keywords. And here we have the if, else, and all the major keywords switched into Urdu. So let's go over these. Agar is for if, varna is for else. Varna agar is for else if. Yeah, not the most creative. Jab tak is a while. Jab tak condition goes for the while condition. Ruk jao is break, obviously. Aage chalo means continue. And yeah, these are the macros. This allows writing standard C logic using Urdu like syntax. It's readable and beginner friendly and really fun to use, honestly. So to summarize the structure of Urdu.h, input output functions are mainly comprising of parley and ligde. String functions are consisting of lambai, nakal, and ulta karde. Time functions go for abhi ka time, aaj ki tarikh, and the macros and keywords go for agar, varna, jab tak. And I think the macros are really what make up most of the header file. So everything is really neatly organized, reusable, and easy to read. And yeah, in short, Urdu.h makes C programming more readable by replacing standard functions with Urdu names, easier with built-in string input and output functions and time functions, beginner friendly with Urdu style macros for flow control. Essentially, it's just like a mini language layer on top of C, all in one reusable header file. Now Ali is going to demonstrate how you can practically use Urdu.h.
Hi, Ali here, and I'm going to be demonstrating an example usage of the Urdu.h header file. One of the main goals of Urdu.h is to simplify programming for beginners in Urdu. The parley function automatically handles input types, and you don't need to use address or specify formats. This makes Urdu.h much more beginner friendly, and the student can simply write x is equals to parley int input prompt instead of clicking, then printing the input prompt, and then taking the input separately. Let's move on to the demo now. Program begins with likhde to print a welcome message. This macro directly maps the likhde function to the printf. Input is taken using parley, which internally handles variable types, eliminating the need for format specifiers and address operators. Conditional logic uses agar and varna mapped to if and else. Loops are written as jab tak, referencing the while macro. And string operations like concatenating and reversing are done through nakal and jor. As you watch the demo run, you'll notice how natural and readable the Urdu syntax feels. The instruction corresponds to a valid C function. Compiled program executes exactly like a regular C program. At the top, we have included the library hashtag include urdu.h. This gives access to every Urdu macro and function defined in the header file. Let's run this code and let me showcase to you some of the functions and macros used. At first, we prompt to enter their name and age. The code to do that is written here. We are going to go with age 18 and name Ali. The code here uses the user's age to calculate if they are an adult or not, and we can see the result here. The code to calculate the age is written here. After this, we prompt the user to enter two separate strings. For the first string, we are going to write string number 1, and for the second string, we are going to write string number 2. We then use these strings to perform a series of string functions on them, such as nakal, chodo, mukabla, and lambai. This is the code here. And press enter. You can see in the output the two strings have been copied, concatenated, compared with each other, and we also got to know the length of those two strings. Now we move on to the character functions demo. The code here prompts the user to enter a character. We are going to enter T in our case, and the program outputs the uppercase and lowercase of that character using the macros bada karo and chota karo. Next comes the file handling macros. Here we have prompted the user to enter the file name he wants. We are going to go with myfile.txt. The user is then asked to enter the data in the set file, and the code to do that is written here. To enter data into the file, we are just simply going to write this is the first line, and then the user is given a choice to whether append the data in the file or not, and of course we're going to go with append. This is the second line, and after the user makes the decision, the entire content of the file is shown to them. The code to display the file is written here. As you can see, the output, the entire and the appended data is also printed. Lastly, we use the while loops macros to showcase the loops. The code to showcase the loop is written here. This code here prompts the user to enter a number, and I'm going to go with 3. And then a string is then outputted 3 number of times. And that's all there is to the demo of the urdu.h header file.
And lastly, these are the tools we used to create our project. We used VS Code to code the header file and the demo. We used AI to clarify queries on fundamental programming concepts. And to create a complete and professional documentation of the project, we used Doxygen. Thank you for watching, and take a look at our project and try Urdu.h yourself by scanning the QR code.